Hey everyone, calling this a collection update or highlight sort of thing. I wanted to take the time to cover my Jedi collection, and maybe I can look back at this as like a progress update sort of thing. I struggled with finding an order to go in here, so we'll start with the chronological Skywalker saga, and then just dump everything else at the end. Which means that we skip the Phantom Menace, which really disappoints me. We go straight into Anakin and Obi-Wan from the Attack of the Clones wave. These here were the first Anakin and Obi-Wan figures that I ever bought, and realistically, I don't need them now in the collection. I bought them as a bundle series along with a bunch of other Attack of the Clones figures. They released around 2021 or 2022. They're both starting to look like figures that I could part ways with. The reason being is because I got these awesome Clone Wars ones in the early 2020s. I was officially out of buying Black Series figures, and I fell in love with this wave, so I ended up buying all of them. The Revenge of the Sith figures I would also like, but they've got really wacky joints and likeness issues. It's because they're older figures. I don't vibe with those figures as much as these guys, so this made sense for my personal collection. So now we head straight into late Clone Wars and Episode 3 territory. This here is Ahsoka, a really great figure that has a couple of standing issues, but I love that design style there. I think from memory, I believe I bought her at Frankenstein's, and you can watch that vlog type video here on this channel. Kit Fisto there was bought along with the other Attack of the Clones figures, a really awesome figure. I think everyone believes that as a kid you pick between this guy and the other guy as your favorite alien Jedi, and this guy here specifically was my favorite. The other guy in question is Plo Koon, of course, another very cool figure. We start seeing some robes on these figures now. Yeah, again, these alien Jedi figures look really great together. They really pop on your display. A very important guy for the prequels here is Mace Windu. I do really like him, but his lightsaber is one of the very fragile kinds for my release. Unfortunately, the peg is just very thin. A really great color scheme with the white and tan there. I always really love that. Ayla Secura is yet another amazing figure, more female Jedi there. Her skin tone's really pretty, and I really love how unique these guys are from one another. The latest release here is Ki-Adi-Mundi, who I bought just this May on sale, and ultimately he's what inspired the release of this video. And then for the originals, we skip all the way to Return of the Jedi here with Luke. It's the only Luke from the originals in my collection. I bought this specific figure on my birthday because you can remove all that indoor stuff and now he just looks like his regular Jedi appearance, but I don't really like the molds there. It feels very different to the standard Episode 6 variants that Hasbro have released on their own, so I might just have to buy a newish figure. And then keeping to Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi era, we have a Yoda figure. I do like him a lot, but the Prequels and Clone Wars era is my specific Yoda that I grew up loving, so I'd love to try and buy one that looks a bit closer to how he looks in those movies. This jumps us immediately to the newer movies, and this is Rey. She's one of the first Black Series figures that I bought. Now this version specifically doesn't count, but I wanted to show off how bad I think the face molding there is, which only further emphasizes how good the line got with their future figures, and my collection of Reys is a pretty good example there. These next two are both from the same movie, but one of them released alongside the movie, the other one released a little bit later. Now the reason for why I have so many Rey figures in my collection is because these were the annual type releases. It felt really exciting to live in a time where a new Star Wars movie would release, and so new toys for said movies would also release. This figure's okay, the face just still isn't quite there yet, but the Ahch-To Island Rey figure is one of my favorites. I bought this figure on clearance at a Disney store while traveling through Florida. She's got a bunch of accessories and the face molding there looks perfect. The real winner for me though is the Episode 9 Rey. I think they nailed it this time finally. I think I prefer some of the other costumes she has in the series, so maybe I can swap some parts around and make my preferred figure, but once again the face likeness here is perfect. And that takes us to everything else. I have here Kanan Jarrus, who I also bought at Frankenstein's. All of the Rebels figures look amazing to me. I love the style that these later releases had compared to some earlier ones. Earlier ones like Ahsoka here. I bought this off of a friend for a cheaper price. She's nice, but something about the face just always felt off to me. Sticking to that time period though, this here is the live action Ahsoka. It's actually the one from the Mandalorian Season 2 releases. This figure looks identical to her TV show one, and both of those figures were available at the same time, except one of them was 45 NZD and the other was on clearance for like 15 bucks, so you do the math there. And then I also got Ezra here, who is still currently available in stores here in NZ. It was one of the last waves that we properly got in the stores, tragically. He is a cool figure, but it's a shame that his line seemingly ended stock in this country. Now Sabine is a Jedi-like adjacent character. She's using Ezra's lightsaber and she is in training, so I'm counting her here along with the other Rebels characters. And then we have some video game characters here. Cal Kestis was released for the first Respawn Jedi game, a very cool figure that I got with some store vouchers at the time, so that made him free. And then the second game had its own figure released, and it improves in many ways here. Hasbro did choose a definitive style for Cal, which didn't match how I had him in game, so it's a figure that kind of throws me off a little. I managed to get Yord very recently for a clearance price. That's the thing about this show, the toys were so cheap because people just didn't buy them. Now on the other hand though, the figures weren't restocked anywhere for that same reason, so the prices ended up going up again. He has a very cool styling to him and a yellow lightsaber. That was reason enough for me to spend the $20 NZD. And then here I have Obi-Wan from the Kenobi show. Again, I just really liked that Tatooine-like style there, and he's got a gun and stuff. He also had a little robot accessory, and I got him on a clearance price too. As far as my missing figures go, the Phantom Menace is a pretty big outlier for me there, and it's one of my favorite prequels. They just released this 3-pack, and I have to, really, it covers all my bases there. It would give me Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Like I said earlier, a Yoda from the prequels era would be really good. I'm not sure what my chances are on this pack though. And again, this country doesn't really sell that toy line anymore, so anything I want I would have to buy online from overseas sellers. Imports and everything else are crazy right now, and they're just about to release Shakti and Luminara, and they both look amazing. And the newer release figures should have the right stuff when it comes to articulation and accessories and quality assurance, so they're definitely preferred. And I'd still love to have some Revenge of the Sith era figures eventually, but I don't want these older style releases. I really want to see Hasbro make some good solid remakes. Those figures there are just a bit too outdated for my personal liking. But that's the collection of Jedi overall. This, technically started around maybe 2015 or 2017, depending on the Rey figure that you picked to count, but I didn't start actively trying to collect again until around 2020 or so. Most of these guys here were just post-COVID. Thanks for watching this quick highlights video here. Check out more on the channel, and I'll see you all next time.